All right. Third page. Woohoo, we're making progress. Okay, solve by completing the square or quadratic formula you pick. You know what I'm going to do. I am going to complete the square. So here we go. Not a lot of room to write, I know. But, and then this factor is nice and easy. Like so. And this would be 64 plus 13 is 77. 64 plus 13, 77. And then we'll take the square root. Remember what you have to do when you take the square root of both sides. That is right. You're absolutely correct. Insert plus or minus. Woo! Okay, 77 is not going to simplify. It's going to be 7 times 11. And so on this side, remember the square and the square root cancels. And so we just get x plus 8. Now, we have to finish solving for 8. We're going to subtract the 8. I'm going to do it like this just because these won't add, they won't subtract. So you just get the negative 8 plus or minus the square root of 77. There's no square root of 77 on this 8, and there's numbers out in front of the square root of 77, but they wouldn't be like terms anyway, so there's no combining them. And there you have it. Answer. All right. Graphing. What is better than graphing? A equals 1. The vertex is the opposite for the x. Exactly what it is for the k. So it's at negative 1, 3. We'll build our box. And here's 1 and 2. This is a, which is 1, times x squared. So 1 squared is 1 times 1 is 1. Then 2 squared is 4 times the 1 is 4. So easy peasy lemon squeezy. We'll go to 1, negative 3. Vertex up 1 to the right 1. Remember, this goes left to right for x. This goes up and down for y. And then over 2, up 4 is right here. And don't forget that it happens on this other side the same way. And there we have it. Really nice parabola. What could be easier? All right. So to graph this one, it's in standard form. It's not in vertex form. So I have to use this formula here where it's negative b over 2a. That's the h part of the vertex. So b is 2, so I have negative, then I'll put in the 2 over, and then a is negative 1. When I simplify this, you get negative 2 over 2, which equals 1. That's the x part of my vertex. Now I got to plug that in for x back into the original equation, and you get y equals negative 1, and then I'll put in x, square it, plus 2 times 1 plus 3. 1 squared is 1 times negative 1 is 1, negative 1. 2 times 1 is 2, and then the 3 gives me 4. And then that will be the k, the y part. Okay, that's my vertex. Now we're going to go back to the table. It's always 1 and 2. That's what your x's are. Now a is negative 1 this time, times the x squared. So x is 1. When I square it, I get 1, times negative 1 is negative 1. X is 2. When I square it, I get 4, times the negative 1. It gives me negative 4. So I'm at 1, 4. Right there on the graph. And then again, remember, this is x, goes left to right. This is y, up or down. So I go left 1, down 1. Then back to the vertex, over 2, down 4. And again, whatever happens on one side happens on the other. And this is a beautiful, beautiful parabola. Really nice, has nice roots. Okay, 24 is the same way, and it's got a fraction. Ooh, won't our lives be fun? Okay, so let's see what we have. Negative b over 2a, which is negative, and then the b is negative 4 over 2 times a. Now, I don't want you all getting freaked out on this bottom one. It's 2 times a half. What's half of 2? It's 1. It's actually even easier than you thought. And then the negative 1 times the negative 4 is 4. So my h is 4. plug this back into the original equation for x. And it's going to look like this. And then 4 squared, because remember it's PEMDAS, exponents before multiplying, is 16. Half of 16 is 8. And then negative 4 times 4 is negative 16 plus the 2. The 2 and the 8 make 10, and then you subtract 16 gives you a negative 6. So that's my vertex, 4, negative 6. And then the table, this ought to be fun. 1, 2, this is x, 1/2 times x squared. So 1 squared is 1 times 1/2 is 1/2. And then x is 2, that's 4, half of 4 is 2. So I'm at 4, negative 6. So I'm going to go to the right one and up a half. To the right one, up a half. And then to the right 2, up 2. And then to the right, left, up 2. And there's my happy parabola. Nothing could be easier than this. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Woohoo, back to vertex form. My life is crazy good right now. Oops. So you take the opposite of h, which is 1, whatever k is, that's my vertex. Okay, don't freak out. My a is 3, but we can handle it. This is x. This is 3 times x squared. Okay, 1 squared is 1 times 3 is 3. 2 squared is 4 times 3 is 12. So we'll go to 1, 2. 1, 2, buckle my shoe. And then to the right 1, up 3. And then it'll happen over here as well. And then back to the vertex. To the right 2, up 12. And I'm just a little bit past it. So I'm going to pretend like I know where it is. And there's that ginormously skinny parabola. But we knew it was a compression because of the 3. Nice. Sorry, not a compression, a stretch. Okay, no vertex form, standard form, negative b over 2a. It's standard. So negative, and then the b is negative 1. Oh, the b is not negative 1. The a is negative 1. The b is 6. Over 2 times the a is negative 1 gives me positive 3. And then y equals negative 1 times 3 squared plus 6 times 3 minus 1. And then again, 3 squared is 9 times the negative, negative 9 plus 18 minus 1. Negative 1 and negative 9 is negative 10 plus the 18 gives me the 8. So y equals 8. So my vertex is at 3, 8. Okay, let's go ahead and graph that. And that would be there. Let's do our handy dandy table. X and a is negative 1. X squared, 1, 2, 1, negative 1, negative 4. So to the right 1, down 1. To the right 2, down 4. And there we have it. Very nice upside down parabola. It's beautiful. It's awesome. Okay, find the minimum of the quadratic function. Minimum point. So the minimum is h. Okay, that's the minimum point. So this is standard form. So to find h, I have to find negative b over 2a. So it's almost like finding the vertex like what we did, but we're just going to call it the minimum. One of the reasons why it's a minimum, I'll explain it right here, is because the graph opens up. So the end behavior of the graph goes to positive infinity, but the very smallest value will be right here at the vertex. So I just need to find the vertex. That's my minimum point. So I get negative, and then b is negative 8. 2 times a is 2, which gives me 8 over 4, which is 2. And then we have to plug that 2 back in to find y. So I'll do that now. And then we would get 4 times 2 is 8. Negative 8 times 2 is negative 16. Plus 3, 8 plus 3 is 11. Minus 16 is negative 5. So the minimum point occurs when x is 2 and y is negative 5. Again, because the graph opens up. And the smallest point is the vertex. I'm very tiny here. Look at me. You get what I mean. Okay, look. Now we get to do it for the maximum. Same idea. The maximum occurs at the vertex. Standard form, the way we find the h, is we go negative b over 2a. Again, b is 24. 2 times negative 4 is a. And we get 24 over 8, which is 3. Again, remember that's only the x part. We have to plug it back in to find the y. So I'll do that real quickly here. Uh-oh, looks like I'm going to need a calculator. Okay, I have to get a calculator. Okay, so 3 squared is 9 times negative 4 is negative 36. And then 24 times 3 is 72 plus 7. And yeah, I basically need a calculator for this. So I get, after I add up all that on the calculator, I get y equals 43. Well, that's a big maximum. The maximum happens when x is 3 and y is 43. Cool. And again, this parabola, because a is negative, will open down. And so the highest point will be the vertex. That's me, I'm on Mount Everest. Ha 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 ha. So you get the point.